Afghanistan was attacked, and Libya lay over and
there's no business like new business, your worst business we know. The cancer rays keep going right up through the sky. They multiply, our children die. Let us have a chance to live a healthy life all over the world. All over the world.
Okay, very good.
Y'all rock.
Hi, my name is Catherine Skopic, and I'm here because in 1986 I was in Hiroshima, Japan, presenting a workshop at a conference for the World Council for Curriculum and Instruction. And I was presented with this beautiful garland that was made by a hibakusha. And a hibakusha is a person who was present in Hiroshima or Nagasaki when the bombs were dropped, August 6th and August 9th. And as the hibakusha gradually are dying and not as many are left in the world, I hope that this garland made by a hibakusha will help to remind people of the absolute horrors of nuclear weapons and nuclear power plants. And we need to do everything we can to stop them. And as my sign says here, we now have the United Nations treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons signed by 122 member states in 2017. And the groups that worked on this received the Nobel Peace Prize for their efforts. So it's important to know that there are thousands of people around the world who are working toward and in support of a ban on nuclear weapons and nuclear power plants. So that's why I'm here today, because I have a daughter and I'd like her future and the future of all children and all generations to have a world without nuclear waste and without nuclear weapons. It's an uphill battle, but we've got to wage it. Thank you.
How you doing? Haven't seen you for a long time.
Can't let me on. The times they are
people.
No more Hiroshima! No more Nagasaki! No more war! No more Hiroshima! Never again! No more Hiroshima! No more Nagasaki! No more war! No more Hiroshima! Never again! No more Hiroshima! No more Nagasaki!
No more Nagasaki!
No more war! No more Hiroshima!
He's gathering in front of the Japanese Consulate to request Japanese government to play more leadership role, active role in promoting nuclear-free world. So first I'd like to introduce Veterans for Peace.
Veterans for Peace is committed to abolishing war. We're here to say no more Hiroshima, no more Nagasaki's. We support the SPAN, hands-free nuclear energy cooperation agreement. And hope that the U.S. and Japan will abolish all nuclear weapons. They will never be used again. Thank you.
My name is Rosemary Pace. I'm from Pax Christi Metro, New York, which is a region of the Catholic Peace Movement. And I'm proud to say that this is my 4th year here, so I guess I've been here since this began. It's been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience to be part of this. I'm so grateful to Maui and all the organizers. It is such a critical need, especially now with talks of nuclear war with North Korea, Iran. This is not a dead issue. It's not an old issue. It is 2 minutes to midnight. We need to get rid of these nuclear weapons. We need countries to sign the treaty and ratify it. We're up to 14 ratifiers of the treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons, and I'm proud to say that for those countries, that number went up by 4, I think, in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So hopefully it will continue to go that quickly and up. We know the nuclear weapons nations are not part of it. We've got to get that to change. We've got to convince U.S. politicians to stop believing in nuclear weapons while they claim to believe in God. Maybe they should put their trust more in peace and their so-called faiths rather than in nuclear weapons. So I am here on behalf of Pax Christi, and I would like to even be brazen enough to say on behalf of the Catholic Church, which was one of the first 3 nations to ratify the treaty back in September. So we are strongly opposed to nuclear weapons and proud to be here to witness for their abolition.
Thank you. Next we have Anthony from Bouquet Catholic.
Do you know that we spend $70,000 a minute in the U.S. alone on nuclear weapons? $70,000 a minute, 24 hours a day, every day, including Christmas, on nuclear weapons. And what does one nuclear weapon do? What does one weapon, one warhead do? It kills millions of innocent people. One. We have many thousands, as does China, as does Russia, and you know the rest. So we have started a divestment campaign here in New York and around the world. Yes, and each one of you know where your money is, and each organization you belong to, please, where do you keep your money? It's really, this industry takes our money without any democratic process, without any discussion about this. They just take our trillions of tax money to build these useless weapons. So it's an honor to be here to speak before the Japanese consulate. And Japan, I beg you as an ally, as friends, as a good ally, someone we love and we've learned to love since a long time ago. And I beg you to please be a good ally to the United States. Say, America, we love you, we value you, we appreciate you, but we really don't want the plutonium on our soil. We really don't want the capacity to put together a nuclear weapon in Japan. We really don't want your nuclear weapons coming into our ports or in our seas. We want you to get rid of your nuclear weapons. They only kill innocent people. Russia and China are not our enemy, right? They are human beings like me and you. So I want to thank you for this very important day that we honor, and we think about Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And Mary, thank you so much again for all you're doing here. And you know, just one more thing. I just came back from Germany. Most 93% of the German citizens want our U.S. nuclear weapons out of Germany. Yes. 93%. Yet we keep them. They're our nuclear weapons. 20 nuclear bombs are in the bouquet Air Force Base. So a delegation of Americans and people from around the world went there to support our German friends who are standing up and saying out. And I hope Japan, you too, can say the same thing. We don't want... Yes, right on. She's mentioning Okinawa. But in the U.S., we love you, but please, out. We don't need your militarism. We don't need militarism anywhere in the world. We want to help this planet. We need that money for the challenges we have in our life, the climate change and the education, the health care. These are really important things that we need our resources for. We can do this. We can make a better planet. And this is for our future. I'm getting up there in years. I'm saying goodbye. I've had a beautiful life, but our children deserve a future. They deserve, it's our responsibility to get rid of these so they can have a future. So it's an honor to speak before you. Japan, please help us be a great ally, and I hope we can be the same for you. Thank you, Mary. God bless you.
Next, I would like to introduce Catherine from Indian Point Energy. Shut down Indian Point now.
Thank you to each and every one of you beautiful, beautiful people for standing up, for knowing what is morally right for our future, for our children. And I'm chair of Shut Down Indian Point Now and a member of IPSEC, Indian Point Safe Energy Campaign. And I want to remind us all that nuclear power plants are an important part of the mix. And we are working very hard to end these, not only in the United States, but around the world. Now, in 1986, I was in Hiroshima, Japan, and I am near tears because we heard the stories of the Hibakusha. Those people who lived through the dropping of the bomb in Hiroshima. The horrors you could not believe. Many of you have probably heard of these stories. So the Hibakusha are the people who lived through the dropping of the bomb in Hiroshima or Nagasaki. The United States is urging the countries of the global south not to sign this treaty. So we have to ask our elected officials, please ask the United States not to stop those countries from signing on to the treaty. So thank you for your beauty, for your care, for your concern, for knowing what is morally right, and being here today. Bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
My name's Jack Baldwin. I participate in the Anti-Nuclear Manhattan Project and other groups. I belong to the Green Party. The Green Party did not officially endorse this event, but I'm sure they approve it. because the Green Party is a peace party and it advocates total nuclear disarmament. A few weeks ago, I had the great privilege of attending an event in which several of the Hibakusha were present, survivors of the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and I had the opportunity to offer a double apology. I apologized twice, once for the dropping of the actual bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which, by the way, are almost pop toys, children's toys, compared to the bombs that exist today, which are much, much more powerful and much more deadly. But I apologize for the dropping of those bombs, and I also apologized that the United States government had not made its commitment, its legally required commitment, to totally disarm and denuclearize as required in the Non-Proliferation Treaty. The Non-Proliferation Treaty requires nuclear states to eventually ban all the nuclear weapons, and the United States is taking no steps towards that goal, even though they're obligated under the U.S. Constitution to do so. So I apologized for both things, and I do so today. And I know all of you here advocate that position, and I know that all of you here support Japan's Article 9, which advocates for peace. And I wish that there was an Article 9 for the entire world, not just for Japan and America, but for everywhere, so that peace could reign all over the world. So thank you again, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you very much, Jack. Next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Jin. Would you come up here?
Thank you very much, and thank you all for being here. This is really so inspiring. The only downside is we should be about 100 people here, or 200. I've been watching the people walking by, that they're either curious what's going on, or looking down and passing by lest they should see anything, or absolute disdain. And we have in our newspapers every day our administration shaking these arms at Iran and shaking them at North Korea. Well, it would be very nice if they would remain in Iran if they dropped them. But unfortunately, these nuclear weapons do not know boundaries. They don't know that this is not Iran. They don't know that this is not North Korea. So we really need to make people aware. And I think one of the things that we have to do is not only to demonstrate and stand in front of people and say, look, this is really happening now, but we also need to pray for people's spirits so that they wake up. You know, we're living in, look, I can see why they don't think this is not an issue. Just look around you. It's not an issue here. It would be an issue if all the banks were told that we're not going to invest in it anymore. It would be an issue if we could stop at least a few minutes and study why it is that there's so much violence in the world.
Thank you, Sister Jin. Next, I'd like to introduce you, representative of New York City War Registers League.
Seattle Hunthausen died recently, and when he was Bishop of Seattle in the early 90s, he, as bishop, said, I am not going to pay half my taxes because of nuclear weapons. And here we are all these years later. The U.S. still has more than 6,000 nuclear weapons, and other countries in the world, but it's a step that a lot of us took because Hunthausen also inspired us to stop paying for it, to divest ourselves, along with divesting from the bank. So thank you. And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Is there a representative of Brooklyn for Peace?
Hi, I'm Charlotte Phillips. I'm the chairperson of Brooklyn for Peace.
We've been working in Brooklyn since 1984. We're an educational organization, but we do activism and outreach as well. I went to my first Hiroshima demonstration when I was age 19 in California. I think that was 1961, I think. And it's always been an important time for me to think and remember and focus on what the importance is of what we're doing, because sometimes it's hard to remember that in the context of all the bad news that keeps happening, and to focus on the importance of standing up for there being no more Hiroshimas, no more Nagasaki's, no more nuclear power plants. So again, it's very important to me to be here today, and thank you to Mari for organizing it and for letting us share in this event. Thanks again.
Four representatives are back from the meeting upstairs. I'd like to once again introduce four members. We have Susan Schnall of Veterans for Peace, Chapter 34. We also have Alice Slater, Nuclear Age Peace Foundation, and also we have Dr. Nagasaki. Before we hear their reports, we'd like to read the open letter. I hope the weather will be nice. If you don't have the copy of the open letter, we have some copies here with larger fonts. So if you need some, please. Yes, it started raining, but we like to read along this letter.
I'm just going to read the letter, and I'll introduce myself. I'm Susan Schnall from Veterans for Peace, New York City. You all, I think, have a copy of the letter. We'll start with that. We, the undersigned, represent a coalition of concerned peace organizations and citizens of the United States. Japan from peace organizations and citizens of the United States in observance of the 73rd anniversary of the atomic bombings of Japan. We, the undersigned, represent a coalition of concerned peace organizations and citizens of the United States who are advocating for the importance of abolishing nuclear weapons globally toward a more peaceful world. We are gathering here in front of the office of the Consulate General of Japan in New York with a bouquet of flowers to express our sincere regrets and apologies for the deaths of those killed by our nation's atomic bombings in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, a war crime against humanity, although our government has never apologized. We wish to extend our deep condolences and apologies to those atomic bomb survivors in Hiroshima who have endured great mental and physical hardship over 7 decades
as a result of the horrific bomb. As the average age of the Bakasha has now reached 82 years old, we strongly appeal to Japan to play a leadership role in signing, ratifying, and promoting the Treaty on the Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons,
which was adopted by the United Nations on July 7,
2017, with overwhelming support from 122 member states.
As of the end of July 2018, 59 states have signed and 14 states have ratified the treaty. The treaty clearly states the prohibition of developing, testing, producing, manufacturing, transferring, possessing, stockpiling, using, or threatening to use nuclear weapons. We are that Japan shows the strength to resist such pressure from the allies of nuclear weapon states. We also urge Japan to play a leading role among countries that have not yet signed the treaty by completing its domestic legislative process without delay in order to sign and ratify the treaty. We promise to keep raising our voices to press our own government not to engage in pressuring other states from not signing the treaty. We will also
call for the signing and ratifying of the treaty and urge our government to begin removing all existing nuclear weapons from operational status and destroy them in accordance with the treaty.
This April,
there was a historic summit in the demilitarized zone
on the Korean Peninsula, where two Korean leaders agreed to work together towards
denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula
and to formally end the Korean War. We strongly hope Japan supports the current peace and nuclear disarmament process on the Korean Peninsula by entering direct dialogue with the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and proposes establishing a Northeast Asia nuclear weapons-free zone with leaders of the Korean Peninsula in order to make the region free from all kinds of nuclear threats. On July 17, 2018, the 30-year U.S. Japan Nuclear Energy Cooperation Agreement matured and was automatically extended for an unspecified period of time because neither the U.S. nor Japan notified the other countries 6 months prior to its termination. We are deeply worried about this agreement and its impact on the security of the Northeast Asian region and the rest of the world. The pact allows Japan to possess plutonium. In addition, we are truly troubled by the security implications of Japan's stockpile of nearly 47 tons
of separated plutonium in conjunction with the startup of
Hiroshima reprocessing plant, which will have an estimated capacity to separate up to an additional 8 tons of plutonium annually. Such a large stockpile of separated plutonium is a proliferation threat, enough to make thousands of plutonium-cored atomic bombs, as well as vulnerable to nuclear terrorism, and could become a grave environmental disaster if another nuclear accident occurs.
When the rain stopped?
Thank you guys.
Go back? Come on.
It starts again, we're back.
Thank you.
Perfect timing. Well, that's like
whether military or civilian, comes with enormous risks and incalculable consequences. Effective global nuclear disarmament will not be possible as long as we allow
the commercial use of plutonium and highly enriched. Your Constitution has an expiring clause
which recognizes that all peoples of the world have the right to live in peace, free from fear and want. Japan has learned the benefits of a strong culture of peace, while the U.S. increasingly moves towards the economy of war. Article 9 of your peace constitution is a powerful and honorable
possession of nuclear weapons.
It is more persuasive than the policy of nuclear deterrence or reliance on a nuclear umbrella.
Thus, our coalition calls on Japan to preserve its peace constitution, discard its military reliance on the U.S. nuclear umbrella,
and show its strong desire to promote a safer and humane world without nuclear weapons by joining the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. No more Hiroshima! No more Nagasaki! No more war! No more Hiroshima! Never again!
Thank you, Susan. Next, we'd like to hear reports back from Susan, Alice, and Dr. Nagasaki.
Alice, please speak loud.
Hi, I'm Alice Slater. I'm with the Nuclear Age Peace Foundation and ICANN, the network that got the treaty negotiated. We had a wonderful meeting with Jin. You have his card?
Yeah, I have his card.
He'll get his name. He's a young man. He's a Vice-Consul. He met with us and was very moved by what we were telling him and vowed to write a letter to the consul and the ambassador and the right people in the Foreign Affairs Department to tell them our concerns. And we also, Susan will report back also, right? So there were other things that happened there, but I was very impressed. I know he got what we were about, and even though he's constrained, as he admitted to us by the government policy, he was very certain of how he said, and I'm really glad to know him. His name is Jin Hashimoto, and he is really wonderful. He's Vice-Consul at the Consulate.
Next, we'd like to have a moment of silence by Dr. Nagasaki.
Upstairs, we also begin with a little prayer so that we show the respect to those who've gone before, and especially the ones who are killed in Hiroshima and Nagasaki by atomic bombing, but also many people who are killed by the different wars and the violence. And so that's what I would like to do now. In my opinion, maybe we should be connecting Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and then New York. So three bells represent the three cities that we are kind of representing today. Place your palms together or in a meditation.この功徳をもって平等に一切に施し、同じく菩提心を起こして安楽国に往生せん。南無帰依仏、南無帰依法、南無帰依僧。May peace prevail on earth. May peace be with you, with us on this planet of earth. Thank you.
As Alice mentioned, our group spoke about our support for the treaty and speaking about the importance of having Japan as the moral force that can talk about what the United States did in dropping of the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We Americans apologize to the Japanese people for the terrible death, destruction, and devastation that we caused in 1945. And we pledge to support the ongoing efforts to have our country sign the ban on nuclear weapons. And we will continue to do that. And we ask for the assistance of Japan to again be that force that says, stop the nuclearization of the world, ban nuclear weapons, and we will all work together to get that done. It was pledged that, in fact, our statement would be sent to Foreign Affairs, to the ambassador in Japan directly, and there will be additional follow-up. So we will continue to struggle and to protest until we're able to end both the continuing production of nuclear weapons, of nuclear power throughout the world.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
There's a campaign, Don't Bank on the Bomb. And in New York, we're getting our city council. We have council people speaking to the comptroller to divest the New York City pensions from nuclear weapons manufacturers.
Yes.
So help us. Call your city council member. Go on the website, don'tbankonthebomb.com, and you'll see a section there, New York City campaign, right on the front page. Go there, figure it out, help us. This week we're going to send this letter. We already have 14 council members signing on to a letter to Scott Stringer, the comptroller, saying it's time to get New York City out of the nuclear weapons business. And even if we can't move Washington, we can move New York, and let's lead the way. Thank you.
Woo! Yes! Way to go, Alice. Yes! Woohoo!
Thank you, Alice. My name is TK Nakagaki, and I'm actually former president of the Buddhist Council of New York, but now I started a new organization called Heiwa, in the Japanese term, Heiwa, Peace and Reconciliation Foundation of New York. And because first of all, I just wanted to also invite you to join us on August 5, this Sunday at the Washington Square Park, and she has information, but we'd like to bring the attention for the city people about nuclear, the danger of those, and at the same time, sometimes, although Manhattan Project was started here, but yet we just don't know. We never learn all those things in a part of the history too. And so it might be a nice way to bring the peaceful movement from the Manhattan city, right? Because Manhattan Project start from here for the create the nuclear weapons. Then why not time to start a new Manhattan Project for Peace? Is actually the one that I think Inoue-san and everybody try to do too. So please join us. But at the same time, I just wanted to report what happened. And then one thing I just wanted, what I shared at that time was with Consul Hashimoto was I'm originally from Osaka, Japan. But the one thing that I realized is this time March 11 happened, Fukushima. But then when I went back to Japan, that was not happening in Osaka. Meaning we normally see that's happening in Japan, but yet people in Japan might see that's some place else, not our town. But so it probably the same sense is happening for Hiroshima and Nagasaki too. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, bomb was dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, not in Tokyo or not in other places. So sometimes there's a sense like those too. So for me, it is very important to think, Japanese government. So Japan is not just only Tokyo, but also the other parts of the prefecture is Japan too. And Hiroshima is Japan, Nagasaki is Japan, even the Okinawa is Japan too. So many parts, the Tokyo government only concentrate the Tokyo area, but not worried about the other parts. Now hopefully there will be more kind and responsible for what happened in Japan. And if the Japan doesn't say anything, nobody else is going to say. So Japan is the country that they have to share their thoughts, and then not just worried about what the U.S. might think or other people think, but then what the Japan think is actually one thing very important, I believe. So that's one of the story that I share. And then Alice and other wonderful UN stories and the veteran story, I believe they share already, right? So I just wanted to share my parts of the story, but I think it's very important to be able to think more globally, not just locally, but the bigger picture is always important for us. So I thank you very much for the opportunity to share, and I also even visited to the Japanese Council for today on behalf of all of you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Nakamaki. I didn't have a chance to introduce Peace Action, which is one of the co-organizing organizations. Great man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm honored to be here today and just stand with this great witness, this great cloud of witnesses, and this great family of peace. I'm especially glad to be here today. I am the president of Peace Action New York State, and this day is my anniversary also. For on this day last year, I was in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I bear witness to the peace culture that is developing there. I bear witness to the call to the citizens to rise up into action. We at Peace Action, and I'm sure you heard it said, no justice, no peace. Well, peace demands action. And that speaks to why we are here today. All over the world, there are decent, sensible people who love humanity, who are standing up just like us. Be not dismayed by the crowd that walks by. Believe me, they get the message. I would implore you to think about the songs that you know, that you didn't pick them, you just heard them playing. And now you know the words and you're humming them. This is what the peace message needs to be. It needs to be visible, in the air, and heard. And don't worry, the crowd will soon be humming them. You too must understand that just like Article 9 in the U.S., in case you don't know it, we have a kinship papers that frame the Constitution that speak to peace that the people must bring about. What are you saying, Jim? Here's what I'm saying. The framework says, whenever a government ceases to serve its people, it is your duty.
Yes.
Not a recommendation, not a oh by the way. It is your duty to overturn or abolish that government. Now don't get nervous. We're not talking about any kind of armed warfare. We're talking about using the processes that are available to us. The right to assemble in mass and make our declaration known. The right also to exercise our ability at the ballot box. Malcolm said, the ballot or the bullet. We know well that the bullet is not the way to go. We have yet to learn to use the ballot effectively. So as we approach the day when elections will be occurring in this nation and in nations of the world, we must change those who sit in the seat of authority by the will of the people and yet do not do the will of the people. We must change that. It is our duty. Let me just remind you of something that was said in history past, and it is very relevant to us today. The power to decide whether humanity is destroyed or lives lies in the hands of the people, all the people, not the political few. We have arrived to this day because of the long, persistent voicings and actions taken to warn the world and call for the abolition of nuclear weapons. It has metamorphed into an amazing worldwide activism of the people to stop the corporate military-industrial complex. This day, last year, as I said, I was in Japan. I spoke in Hiroshima. I spoke in Nagasaki. And I was reminding them too that only a few years after the horrible experience of the U.S. dropping that bomb, on Veterans Day 1948, at the dawn of the nuclear age, after the devastation of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, General Omar Bradley said, "The world has achieved brilliance without wisdom, power without conscience. Ours is a world of nuclear giants and ethical infants. We know more about war than we know about peace, more about killing than we know about living. If we continue to develop our technology without wisdom and prudence, our servants may prove to be our executioners." He said that on November 11, 1948.
Thank you.
The day has arrived. The smiling faces I saw of the Hibakushaws reflect something that Helen Keller once said. She said, "True happiness is not attained through self-gratification, but through the fidelity of a worthy purpose. We are engaged in an imperative moment in this worthy purpose. We demand peace, we march for peace, we organize for peace, and we will have peace. I love you all, and I thank you again for the opportunity." Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'd like to conclude today's event by repeating "No more Hiroshima, no more Hiroshima, no more Nagasaki, no more war, no more Hiroshima, never again." So please repeat after us.
And I just want to tell you, this flag is from the peace movement of France, where I was also last year, and who attended the World Conference Against the Hydrogen and Atomic Bomb. And they asked me to bring it in solidarity with the movement for peace that is happening and to stand with the people of Japan. No more Hiroshimas! No more Hiroshimas! No more Nagasakis! No more Nagasakis! No more war! No more war! No more Hibakusha! No more Hibakusha! No more bases in Okinawa! No bases in Okinawa! Remove the bases from Okinawa! Remove the bases from Okinawa! No more Hiroshimas! No more Hiroshima! No more Nagasakis! No more Nagasakis! No more war! No more war! No more Hibakusha! No more Hibakusha! Never again! Never again! Never again! Never again! Peace be with us all.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming today.